Welcome back to the channel. For this video, I'm going to be talking about the differences between the 1968 to 1972 or second generation Chevy Chevelle from GM's A-body platform. I'm not going to be getting into mechanical differences between the model years, but my goal in this video is to provide you with enough information about some of the distinct style features on these cars so that you'll be able to quickly spot and tell the model year when you see one of them at a car show or perhaps even on the road. Now, it's important to note that even within the 5 model years of the second generation, there are some distinct differences from the different model years. The 1968 and 1969 Chevelles look very similar in the front, as do the 1971 and 1972 Chevelles. The 1970 model featured a one-off, one-time design for the front end and how the car was shaped, even though I think it is one of the best front-end designs of the entire generation. It was only kept for that 1 year. And of course, one way you can tell a 1968 to 1970 Chevelle or from a 1971 to 1972 is the 1971 and 1972 Chevelles only had 2 headlights, whereas the other 3 model years had 4. The 1971 and 1972 Chevelles are nearly identical cars, except for one key feature difference. That is the front turn signal. On the 1971 Chevelle, the front turn signal is actually 2 pieces together. But on the 1972 model, the front turn signal is 1 solid piece. And that is how you can tell the 2 apart, is by the turn signal. You can also easily spot a 71 or 72 Chevelle from the back because they were the only model years that had the circular taillights. For what it's worth, I saw a high-end 1971 build at SEMA called El Gran Patron. It was a high-end custom 1971 Chevelle. This car has also been popular on Instagram. I don't know why, but for some reason, this car, even though they say it is a 71, it has the 1972 turn signal. And I haven't gotten an explanation for why the turn signal is different. I guess the builder just chose to go with a 72 turn signal because he liked it better. But for what it's worth, normally you're only going to see this turn signal on a 72 model. Now, going back to the 1970 model, remember this design, the way they have the 4 headlights, was a 1-year design. So if you see this design in the front, you know it's got to be a 70 model. If you look around the edges where the fenders and the front end meet, you'll notice that's a little bit smoother than it is on the 1968 and 1969 Chevelles. And we'll flip back and forth between a couple of 69 images and 70 images so you can notice the difference. Now, the 68 and 1969 models are very similar in the front and the side, except for the 1968 was the only year with a vent window. So if you see one without a vent window, like this car, then you know it is a 1969 Chevelle. So I don't know how orderly this presentation was, but I hope you learned some of the key things to look for when spotting these cars. 1968 and 1969 will have similar front ends with 4 headlights, but they are different from the 1970 Chevelle, which also has 4 headlights. If you see a Chevelle with just 2 headlights in the front, then you know it's got to be a 71 or a 72 Chevelle. Also, the 1968 model year was the only year any of these 5 cars had a vent window. So if you see one with a vent window, then you know it's a 1968 Chevelle. It's also worth noting, if you take a look at the backseat window on these cars, the 1968 and 1969 models have the same type of backseat window, but they changed it with the 1970 model year. And remember, the best way to tell apart the 1971 from the 1972 Chevelle is the turn signal. If it's the 1971, it's going to have a 2-piece turn signal like this one. Unless, of course, you are the El Gran Patron Chevelle, then I guess you can have whatever turn signal you'd like. So, thanks for watching. Please click like and subscribe, and have a good day.